I've always wanted to have locks, but there's this phase called the ugly phase, whereby you question every decision you've made, and so many times in the past I've actually undone my hair during the ugly phase. I love locks. I love how it looks. I love the freedom that it gives me. But the ugly phase is where I stopped. Yeah. And there's a lesson tied to this. In this life, God has been teaching me about seasons. You go through seasons. And the Bible talks about the sons of Issachar. They were wise. They could discern and understand season and know how to act accordingly. Yeah. And understanding seasons is like, knowing where you're currently at and what you actually need to do. Yeah. So let me use it as a farmer. A farmer knows when it's time to plant. They know when it's time to weed. They know when it's time to harvest. Actually, currently, right now, it's probably where I live, it's a harvest time and people are harvesting maize from their farm. You can imagine if a farmer decides to plant maize now, they're not going to get a harvest, yeah? Because they didn't understand that this is not the right season to plant maize. Because if you plant maize right now, it's going to go through drought. It won't get enough rainfall, and actually you're going to waste your money. So God has been teaching me something about understanding the times and seasons that you're currently at. God is the one who ordains times and seasons. In fact, Ecclesiastes says that there are times and seasons. There's a time to be happy, a time to be sad, a time to plant, a time to, to uproot. So if you understand currently the season that you're operating under and you act accordingly, then you're going to see fruit. Picture it like this. For us, financially, you need to plant a seed, especially if you're in business. There's a time of planting, like building something. If you're a kingdom entrepreneur, God is calling you to build something, and you're building that thing in the right time. And in the right time, you're going to harvest something, and you're going to see fruits and manifestations, and you're going to be happy. Yeah. Most of the times we get frustrated with God because we try to get a fruit in a season where we're not supposed to get fruit. So you get frustrated. I've been there. And you're like, God, you've forgotten everything about me. You don't love me. Why am I enticing this? But it's because there's a possibility that you're walking in disobedience, like I was. God has called you. You sense God is calling you to do something, to build something, to build a business, yeah? And then you're not doing it, but you're still expecting God to provide for you. Yeah. So I've written a book. It's about understanding the times and season. And the books that I write are sort of like journals or workbook. These are books whereby you partner with God. Yeah. Think of it like this. You go to God and ask God, what season am I in? And God is able to answer and hear. I've also written a book on how to hear God's voice. And there's so many resources out there on how to hear God's voice. So it's you partnering with God and going to God and say, God, what season am I currently at? Am I in Egypt? Because I've discussed about those two types. You can be in Egypt, you can be in the wilderness, you can be on your verge of getting to the promised land, and you can be in the promised land. So you ask God, what season am I currently operating in? The video cut off. What I was trying to say is the most important thing you can do as a believer is learning to hear God's voice for yourself, so that he can speak to you and he can direct you, because he desires to direct your path. I believe that as human beings, we were created to be led by God. So you can be led. In fact, the Bible says if you're a child of God, you're led by the Spirit of God. And other people understand this, and that's why they consult their different gods and altars and allow them to lead you. But if you're a child of God, you should be led by God, yeah? And being led by God starts by you learning to hear his voice, learning to understand and perceive when he's speaking to you. And once he speaks to you, you're able to discern and ask him, God, what is my season? God, what should I be building? What should I be planting? And then when you do that and you walk in step with God, you're able to see more results in your life. Yeah. So thank you so much. I'll share the link to that book in the description.